The Steelers are currently sitting at 6-3 and firmly entrenched in the AFC playoff picture with just 8 weeks to go. And today, I'm going to be breaking down the Steelers' path to the AFC playoffs and potentially if they could even win the AFC North division crown here in 2023. But before I break down the Steelers' path to the postseason, make sure you click that subscribe button right now to help us beat the Browns. We are currently in a sub-battle with our sister company here at Chat Sports, the Browns Report, and this is what the host of that show, Matthew Peterson, has to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers fans, you guys knew you were frauds back in 2020. And who destroyed that season for you? The Browns in Pittsburgh. And this year, you know you are the biggest fraudulent 6-3 team. And just like in 2020, the Browns are going to expose you yet again. Fuck the Steelers. Let's go Brownies.
This man hates the Steelers. He hates you, the fans. He has absolutely no respect for us as Yinzers. So to beat this man this week, if you're new to the channel, I ask you, I'll make a deal with you right now. Click that subscribe button. Help us beat the Browns Report this week. We've never lost a sub battle in our existence. We're not starting now. And I'll tell you what, in a week, if you don't love our daily content here on Steelers Talk, you can click that unsubscribe button. That's how confident that you are going to absolutely love the content here on the channel. Help us beat the Browns right now by clicking that subscribe button right now. All right, so now let's discuss the AFC playoff picture right now, where the Kansas City Chiefs currently lead the entire AFC, sitting at 7-2. The Ravens currently atop the NFC or the AFC North at 7-3. The Jags winning the South at 6-3, and then also the Dolphins in the East at 6-3 as well. Right now, the Steelers currently hold the number 5 seed, the first wild card spot at 6-3. The Browns are right behind them at the 6th spot, and then the Houston Texans sitting at 5-4 with C.J. Stroud just in there right now. Cincinnati's right on their tail, also at 5-4. Indy's still there. Buffalo, Las Vegas, Chargers still have a shot as well. But overall, right now, the Steelers are sitting in a pretty darn good spot here at 6-3, which of course means that they are second place in the AFC North through the first 10 weeks of the year. And now with Deshaun Watson out for this game versus the Browns, it looks like the Steelers will have a really good chance to get to 7-3, which would be absolutely massive for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their chances to make the NFL postseason. And to me, I think you have to get to at least 10-7. If you get there, you're likely in the playoffs. Of course, last year there was a 9-8 team. That was the Miami Dolphins that ended up making the playoffs. The Steelers were at 9-8 last year and just missed out. So what I look at right now is that the Steelers, there's 3 games in their schedule, in their remaining schedule, and they're all in a row, by the way, that should absolutely be wins. Week 13 versus the Cardinals at home. The next week against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. They're in absolute shambles. And then you go on the road to Indianapolis. If you win these 3 games, your floor is at 9-8. That means out of the rest of the games in the schedule, all you have to do is win one of those games to get to 10-7 and get your butt into the AFC playoffs this year. So right now, this week against the Browns, next week on the road against the Bengals. Of course, you play the Bengals again at home in Week 16, the Seahawks on the road in Week 17, and then you finish off the year with the Baltimore Ravens on the road. You win one of those games, along with those 3 games that you should win. You get to 10-7, and you get into the playoffs. Now, coming up next on today's show, can the Pittsburgh Steelers actually win the AFC North division over the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals? I'm going to give you my answer to that question here in just a second. But first, let me know down there in the comment section, will the Steelers make the playoffs here in 2023, or are they going to have a blow-up of massive proportions and miss? Type P if you think they're going to make the playoffs, or type M if you think they're going to miss. This is also going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Now, if we're speaking honestly here, I really do think because the Steelers have such a lack of a passing game right now, it's going to be really tough for the Steelers to win this division as things currently sit. So you take a look at the AFC North division standings right now. The Steelers are just a half game out of first place. They're sitting really, really good 10 weeks into the year. Okay, the Ravens are sitting at 7-3, but they're vulnerable. The Steelers play the Cleveland Browns without Deshaun Watson this week in Week 11. So the Steelers could absolutely move up a spot here and even take first place this week. But Cincinnati's sitting at 5-4, still a really good football team. They could still creep up as the season continues. And if you look at the remaining strength of schedule here, Cincinnati's got a really tough go of it. So they got the number 1 in the league, toughest strength of schedule the rest of the way. Baltimore's got a tough schedule as well at 5th. Pittsburgh does have the 17th hardest schedule. So, I mean, pretty decent the rest of the way. And then Cleveland, who cares about Cleveland? They're done anyway. But the AFC North odds right now has the Pittsburgh Steelers even lower than the Browns at this point, plus 120 for the Ravens, plus 225 for the Cleveland Browns, plus 450 for Cincinnati, and plus 550. So if you put in a $100 bet for the Steelers to win the division, you'd win $550 right now. And coming up here, I'm going to let you know what is the Steelers' path to winning that division crown this year. I'll let you guys know that here in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Prize Picks. You can go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. And let me just tell you guys right now, I'll challenge you guys. If you know ball, you can make some serious money here with Prize Picks, which is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. You might be asking yourselves, Jack, how does daily fantasy sports work? Well, here's how. Pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can even win 25 times your money on any entry. So let's take a look at my picks for this week's game versus the Cleveland Browns. I got the more on Kenny Pickett passing yards. He's only at 193.5. I think he gets up to at least 200 this week. I got the less on Najee Harris because I think Jaylen Warren is going to pop off this week. Then also I got the more on George Pickens receiving yards because I think he's going to have a pair of really nice catches, hopefully a touchdown too this week against Cleveland. You can check it out now and get your picks in before the Steelers line it up against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right now. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. So now the big question right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers and our fans is, can we actually pull this off? Can we actually get to a place where we are first place in the AFC North and we finish the season there? There's definitely a roadmap there, but I think the Steelers are going to have to get to at least 12 wins because you look at this division right now, the Ravens, Cincinnati's a really good team as well, but really the Ravens is going to be the real sticking point here. I think the Ravens are going to be a 12-13 win football team right now. And if you're the Steelers, I think you have to get to at least 12 wins to put yourself in contention for the division crown. And the road to 12-5 at this point. Of course, you got to win all of your should-be wins, right? The Cardinals, Patriots, Colts. We talked about this earlier. But now, instead of just getting one of those wins in the could-be wins section, you got to win at least 3 of these matchups to get to 12-5. You just got to win one of them to get to 10-7. Now you got to win 3 to get to 12-5 and win the division. And listen, could the Steelers win 3 here? Absolutely. This Browns game this week, very winnable football game. You could probably split against the Cincinnati Bengals at least one of those games, or you can beat the Bengals at least once. And then I think you can beat the Ravens on the road in Week 18. You did it last year. The Ravens do not play well against the Steelers defense. I could totally see the Steelers pulling out 3 wins here. And if you win all those should-be games and you don't fall into a trap, you're sitting at 12-5, and you might actually pull off one of the craziest things I've ever seen in sports. Winning this division with this football team would be absolutely an accomplishment and one of the greatest coaching jobs of head coach Mike Tomlin's career. Now, let me know down in the comments section. It's crystal ball time. Look into those crystal balls of yours and let me know. Will the Steelers win the AFC North? Type yes or type no. What do you guys think? Let me know down there in the comments section. So now finally here, I want to talk about the Steelers rooting guide here in Week 11. Which teams should you be rooting for here in Week 11? Of course, you got to be cheering for the Steelers over the Browns, but you also have to be cheering for the Bengals over the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. I know you don't want to cheer for the Bengals, but hey, just cheer against the Ravens. How about that? Then you can cheer for the Packers over the Chargers, a team that's looking to try to make the playoffs here. The Dolphins over the Raiders, the Cardinals over the Texans, and the Jets over the Buffalo Bills. All right, now I do want to talk a little bit about this week's matchups in the AFC North. The Bengals, of course, are traveling to the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football. Listen, this is going to be a really highly contested football game. I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals are a damn good football team. I think they're probably going to be a wild card team in the AFC this year, and they're going to be dangerous from that spot when the playoffs come around. But, man, Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, that defense is rolling too. This is going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And if the Ravens win this game, I think that the Bengals are probably out of it in terms of AFC North contention. And then, of course, we got week 11 here, Steelers versus the Browns. No Deshaun Watson. It's going to be DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the rookie out of UCLA, starting for the Cleveland Browns. They don't have either of their starting offensive tackles, so you know Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt are licking their chops right now. If you want to see my full preview of this matchup, it's currently up on the Steelers Talk YouTube channel. I'm going to put the link of that video in the comments and description of today's show. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Help us beat the Browns right now. Again, try it out for a week. I guarantee you're going to love the content here if you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you'll help us beat the Browns here in Week 11.